How many times have you told yourself tomorrow will be different? Tomorrow you'll wake up early, hit the gym, write that page, start that project. But tonight, you're here again, scrolling, whispering promises you know you won't keep. Be honest, how many dreams have you buried under the lie of later? This is the cost of waiting. Life slips by while you keep pretending you have forever. You don't. And that quiet truth you keep ignoring. It's screaming at you now, nobody's coming to make you move. You keep telling yourself the problem is your schedule, your lack of time, your lack of money, your lack of support. But look closer, really look. The hidden truth is brutal. The real problem isn't your job, your family, your busy life. The real problem is that deep down, you're addicted to comfort. You're wired to choose the path that asks the least of you. And your mind, clever as it is, has mastered the art of helping you lie to yourself just enough to stay the same. Think about how many times you've planned to change. New Year's resolutions, Monday promises, motivational videos at midnight. You feel that spark, you write down goals, you buy the planner, you make the list. And then a week later, the fire's out. Why? Because your brain loves certainty. It loves staying where it's warm and predictable. Even if your habits are killing your dreams, they're safe. Safe feels good. Safe feels familiar. And so, over and over, you choose it. This is why so many smart, talented people live the same year on repeat, comfortable but unsatisfied. They scroll through someone else's success story, nod along to inspirational quotes, maybe even tell themselves they'll try harder tomorrow. But they won't, because trying means risking, and risk means discomfort. And discomfort is the one thing they've trained themselves to run from their entire life. But here's the part most people never see. You don't have a discipline problem, you have a fear problem. You fear what happens if you show up and fail. You fear what people will say if you change and don't stick to it. You fear what happens if you actually succeed, and you can't hide behind excuses anymore. So you keep the cycle alive. It's easier to tell yourself, I'm too tired, too busy, too stuck, than to admit the truth. Action makes you uncomfortable. Consistency makes you uncomfortable. Staying the same feels easier, even when it eats you alive from the inside out. And so you build habits around avoidance. You build excuses so polished they sound responsible. I'm waiting for the right time. I need to figure it all out first. I'll start when life settles down, but life never settles down. There is no perfect day when fear disappears and you wake up magically disciplined. There is only today, and what you do with it. The ones who win, who build lives worth talking about, are not the ones who wait until it's easy. They're the ones who feel the fear, feel the resistance, and get up anyway. So here's the truth you won't hear in the highlight reels. Success isn't about feeling ready. It's about feeling scared and doing it anyway. It's about realizing that your mind will fight you every step of the way, whispering every excuse it can find, and still choosing to act. Comfort is the enemy. Consistency is the weapon. And if you don't learn to push through the part of you that wants to stay safe, you'll spend your whole life waiting for a moment that never comes. Think about this. Doing nothing costs you far more than any mistake you could ever make by trying. People think staying still keeps them safe. No risk, no failure, no embarrassment. But the real price of inaction is invisible at first. It shows up quietly in the moments you're alone with your thoughts. You feel it when you're stuck in traffic, staring out the window, wondering where the time went. You feel it when someone else does the thing you said you'd do, writes the book, starts the business, runs the marathon, and you sit there telling yourself they must have had more time, more luck, more talent. You know, they just paid the price you refused to pay, the price of doing something imperfect instead of nothing at all. The cost of doing nothing is regret, and regret is heavy. It creeps in slow and stays forever. It whispers at 2 a.m. when you can't sleep, reminding you how many times you said, "I'll start tomorrow." It sits with you when you watch someone younger, someone less experienced, someone just as scared as you cross the finish line you never approached. It eats at you when you realize you can't rewind the years you traded for comfort and distraction. There's a reason people near the end of their lives never talk about the risks they took. They talk about the risks they didn't take. They don't lose sleep over the business that failed. They lose sleep over the idea that died with them because they never gave it a chance to breathe. They don't regret trying and falling on their face. They regret standing still while life moved past them. Doing nothing teaches you to stop trusting yourself. Every time you say, "I'll start next week," and you don't, you send your brain a message. My word means nothing. And when you can't trust your own word, you lose a piece of your power. Because self-belief isn't built by thoughts alone. It's built by proof. Proof that when you say you'll do it, you actually do. The moment you break that contract with yourself, you prove that your fear is stronger than your promise. Look at your life right now. What are you losing by staying still? Opportunities don't just disappear into thin air. They go to the person who stepped up when you sat down. Money you could have earned, skills you could have mastered, health you could have rebuilt, love you could have kept alive, all slipping away while you wait for a better mood or a perfect plan. Doing nothing is not neutral. Doing nothing is an active choice to stay exactly where you are while the rest of the world moves. The clock doesn't stop just because you did. So what's the real cost? 10 years from now, 20, you'll wish for nothing more than the chance you have right now to begin, to move, to try. One day, the pain of regret will be bigger than any fear you feel today. That's the bill no one wants to pay. So hear this clearly. The price of doing nothing is your dreams collecting dust while you craft excuses. Don't let tomorrow become a graveyard for today's possibilities. Move, mess up, try again. Because the cost of staying still is far greater than the price of showing up imperfectly, again and again, until you're the person you promised yourself you'd be. So here's the truth that shifts everything. Success doesn't belong to the most talented or the smartest. It belongs to the most consistent. It sounds too simple, right? We crave hacks, secrets, shortcuts, some complicated blueprint we think only the lucky few get to have. But there's no secret door. The breakthrough is boring because it's so obvious. Show up, especially when you don't feel like it. Consistency beats intensity every single time. Anyone can get fired up for a day or a week. Watch a motivational video, buy new gear, plan a perfect routine. But fire burns out if you don't feed it daily. The people you look up to didn't find magic. They built it with small, repeated actions you'll never see in their highlight reel. While you wait for motivation to strike, they build discipline so they don't need motivation at all. The real insight? Action creates motivation, not the other way around. You think you need to feel ready to move, but that's backwards. Movement is what makes you feel ready. Taking that tiny step resets your brain. When you get up and do it anyway, run when you're tired, write when you feel blocked, show up when your mind screams for comfort. You train your mind to obey you, not the other way around. It's like gravity. If you stay still, your excuses get heavier. You wait and they grow roots. But once you act, you break that weight. You realize the monster in your head isn't as big as it felt at midnight. One push-up becomes 10. 1 minute reading becomes an hour. One small promise kept becomes a habit you don't even think about anymore. And that's when you win, when the hard things become who you are. Consistency is the ultimate equalizer. It doesn't care where you're from, who your parents were, what you failed at last year. It cares that you show up again today, and tomorrow, and the day after that, one brick at a time. That's the insight most people miss. You don't need more information, you need repetition. You need to become boring enough to do the work on days when your mind begs you to skip it. It's not sexy, but it's powerful. Every big thing you want, financial freedom, health, meaningful work, strong relationships, comes down to tiny, repeated steps stacked on top of each other until they're too heavy to ignore. Most people never stick around long enough for the stack to show. So here it is. The breakthrough isn't about learning something new. It's about doing what you already know again and again until it sticks. It's about killing the old story in your head that says you're only good when you're inspired or ready. The real you is built in the days you're not. The moment you stop worshiping motivation and start trusting consistency is the moment you become unstoppable. Show up small, show up messy, but show up every single time. That's the real shortcut. That's the breakthrough no one wants to sell you because it can't be sold. It can only be earned. By you, one day at a time. So how does this actually work? How does showing up, even when you don't feel like it, turn ordinary people into unstoppable ones? Here's the raw science and truth behind it. Your brain is wired to seek comfort and avoid pain. That's its job, to keep you safe. But safe to your brain means familiar. So every time you push against that, every time you get up early when you'd rather sleep in, every time you put your phone down and do the real work, you train your brain to see discomfort as normal. That's how consistency rewires you from the inside out. It's not willpower alone. It's how habits shape your identity. When you repeat an action enough times, you teach your brain, this is who I am now. You're no longer someone who tries to write. You're a writer because you write daily, even if it's bad. You're no longer someone who wants to get fit. You're an athlete because you show up for the run, even on rainy mornings when no one's watching. Repetition turns actions into identity. Think about muscle memory. An athlete doesn't think about how to swing the bat or run that last mile. Their body just does it, because thousands of tiny reps carved that motion into their bones. The same thing happens with your self-discipline. The more you repeat, the more it becomes who you are. Consistency removes the question, should I do this? It becomes automatic, like brushing your teeth. You don't wake up and debate it, you just do it. That's how unstoppable people operate. And here's the kicker. Action breeds motivation, not the other way around. When you act, when you push through, your brain releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical. It rewards you for moving forward. It tells you, hey, good job, do that again. So the more you act, the more motivation you feel, not before, after. Waiting to feel like it is like waiting for your phone to ring when you never dialed the number. Action dials the number. Science backs it up, too. Studies show that tiny daily actions compound. A 1% improvement every day doesn't feel like much, until you realize it makes you nearly 37 times better in a year. Not by leaps, but by steady, invisible steps. That's how people break records, build businesses, change their health, transform their lives. Not in a single heroic moment, but in thousands of unsexy, quiet decisions stacked on top of each other. Look at any success story you admire. Athletes, artists, entrepreneurs. They didn't win because they found some magical burst of passion every morning. They won because they built systems that worked when they didn't feel like working. Systems that made their actions automatic. That's the engine under every extraordinary result, boring, repeatable, daily moves. So this is how it works. It's not about doing huge things perfectly. It's about doing small things consistently until they can't be ignored. Consistency multiplies effort. It shrinks excuses. It kills fear because you don't have time to overthink. You're too busy doing. And every tiny rep, every uncomfortable push, every imperfect action, they stack up into momentum. Momentum turns into mastery. Mastery turns into freedom. That's the mechanism. Simple, uncomplicated, but the only question is, will you use it or keep waiting for lightning to strike? All right, let's break this down. Enough theory, here's how you do it. No fluff, no waiting for Monday or the perfect mood. Just steps you can repeat until they stick so deep you can't shake them loose even if you tried. Step 1, pick one thing. Most people fail because they try to change everything at once. Gym, diet, business, morning routine, all in a week. It never works. Pick one habit that matters now. One habit that, if you did it daily, would move your life forward. Maybe it's writing for 30 minutes. Maybe it's a 10-minute workout. Maybe it's turning your phone off for an hour to focus. One thing, anchor that before adding more. Step 2, make it tiny. Shrink the habit so small you can't say no. If you can't write for an hour, write for 5 minutes. If you can't run 3 miles, walk around the block. If you can't meditate for 20 minutes, sit for 2. The point is starting. Action beats ambition every time. Once you're in motion, your brain shifts from resistance to flow. Tiny steps trick your mind into compliance. Step 3, lock it to something you already do. Habits stick best when they're attached to other habits. It's science, habit stacking. You brush your teeth. Do your new habit right after. You make coffee, add it there. Your brain loves patterns, use that. Your habit shouldn't float in your day waiting for free time. Tie it down. Step 4, track it visibly. This is where most people quit. They forget to see their progress. Use a notebook, a habit app, a calendar. Mark an X every day you show up. 1 X isn't impressive. 10 in a row is 30. Now your brain fears breaking the chain more than doing the work. Visual proof beats excuses. Step 5, prepare for sabotage by you. You will hit a wall. A late night, a bad day, no motivation. This is where people fold, but you won't, because you planned for it. If you can't do the full habit, do the smallest version possible. No 0 days. 5 push-ups instead of a workout. 1 paragraph instead of a chapter. When you refuse 0, you train your mind. I'm someone who shows up. Always. If you do these steps daily, tiny, boring, the compound effect kicks in. One day you look back and realize that small thing turned into something unstoppable. That's how books get written. Bodies get rebuilt. Dreams get funded. Not in giant heroic leaps, but in boring daily acts that stack up when no one's clapping. Don't overcomplicate this. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Pick one thing, shrink it, stack it, track it, refuse 0, that's it. That's your superpower now. And it's in your hands, not in your head, so here's the challenge. Tonight, before bed, write down your one thing, make it laughably small. Stick it to your mirror, your fridge, your phone. And tomorrow, no matter how you feel, do it, just once. Then repeat. That's how people win while everyone else keeps waiting. Let me tell you a true story. A simple, real story. No billionaire fairy tale, no celebrity comeback. Just a regular person who got tired of her own excuses and did what most people woe. She stayed consistent when it was boring. Her name's Sarah. She wasn't famous, wasn't rich, didn't have a perfect plan. She was 38, stuck in a desk job she hated, always telling herself she'd write a book one day. You know that line, right? One day, but years kept slipping by, drafts half finished. Ideas saved in phone notes, nothing real, then something changed, not her talent, her habits. One morning, after scrolling social media for hours and feeling that familiar sting of regret, she made a rule. I write 1 page a day. No excuses, not 10 pages, not a perfect chapter. Just 1 imperfect page before checking her phone, before coffee, before anything else. At first, it felt stupid. 1 page, what good is that? It took 10 minutes, sometimes 5, but she did it anyway, every day. Even when she felt stuck, even when the words sucked, even when her inner critic screamed, this is pointless, she wrote it down anyway. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months. She crossed off each page on a wall calendar, like prison bars falling away one by one. 1 page at a time, she got better. Her mind learned to show up before it had time to doubt itself. She didn't wait for the muse to visit. She dragged it out of bed and put it to work. A year later, she held her finished draft, 365 pages, not perfect, not polished, but done, something real. Something she could edit, publish, share. While her friends kept saying one day, she turned one day into day 1, then day 2, then day 3, until it became her identity. I'm a writer because I write. Sarah didn't quit her job overnight. She didn't become an overnight success. But her book is out there now. People read it. She speaks at small events. She gets emails from strangers saying, "Your words helped me." And every time someone asks, "How did you do it?" she says the same thing, 1 page a day. No 0 days. Her story is proof that your dreams don't need a grand gesture. They need tiny, relentless action. You can apply that to anything, your health, your business, your skills, 1 workout, 1 sales call, 1 new lesson, 1 uncomfortable step repeated daily. Consistency beats brilliance that never shows up. Sarah wasn't the best writer in her town, but she was the one who wrote when no one was watching. That's why she has a book and her more talented friends don't. So here's the truth. Someone out there, just like Sarah, with less talent, fewer connections, less money, is building the life you keep postponing, just because they do what you say you'll do tomorrow. Let Sarah's story remind you, big results are built in boring moments when no one claps. The quiet mornings, the small reps, the days you don't feel like it, that's where you become someone unstoppable. Let's be clear, staying consistent sounds simple, but it's not easy. Most people fail not because they're lazy or unlucky, but because they keep stepping into the same traps over and over without even seeing them. So before you run forward, let's shine a light on the potholes that will swallow your momentum if you're not ready. First, the biggest trap, expecting perfection. You'll think you need to do it perfectly every single day. Perfect workout, perfect focus, perfect words. The second you slip, even just a little, you'll whisper, "I messed up, so why bother now?" And just like that, you'll ghost your own goals. Remember this, consistency is about showing up, not showing off. Imperfect progress beats perfect intentions that never happen. Second trap, waiting for motivation. People think they need to feel it to do it. They waste hours trying to hype themselves up, watching videos, reading quotes, scrolling for signs, instead of just doing the first tiny step. Motivation is like a spark. It comes and goes. If you build your life around sparks, you'll spend more time in the dark than moving forward. Build your life around habits instead. Discipline is your backup generator when the spark doesn't come. Third trap, making your goals too big too soon. You feel inspired, so you stack a monster to-do list. Wake up at 5 a.m. Run 5 miles, eat perfectly, build a business, learn a new language today. That big push feels good for a week. Then real life hits. You miss one thing, then another. You feel like a failure and quit. The truth is, sustainable consistency is boring. It's small. It's daily. It doesn't impress people at first, but it works. Next trap, keeping it invisible. If you don't track it, you'll forget it. If you don't see your wins, you'll doubt yourself. If no one knows, it's easy to break promises to yourself. Humans lie to themselves all the time. "I'll do it tomorrow. I didn't really skip. I'm too busy." Track it. Mark it. Tell someone. Make your effort real enough to keep you honest. Another common trap, surrounding yourself with excuse makers. Maybe it's your friends, your coworkers, even your family. People who laugh when you try, roll their eyes when you say no to old habits, who want you to stay the same so they feel better about not changing. Be ready for this. They'll test your commitment more than your own doubt will. It's not your job to drag them forward. It's your job to protect your mindset. If they're not helping you build, they're probably helping you stall. And last trap, quitting when it gets boring. Progress isn't exciting every day. Some days feel pointless. You'll show up, do the work, see no results, and wonder, is this even working? That's when most people quit. Right before the compound effect kicks in. Right before things start to click. The secret? Do it anyway. Boredom is a sign you're on the right track. It means you're doing it so often it's becoming who you are. So take this seriously. If you know the traps, you can sidestep them. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need motivation. You need tiny steps, daily proof, a circle that respects your grind, and a mind that knows boredom is progress in disguise. Avoid these traps, and you'll outlast 90% of people still waiting for the perfect moment to get started. So now you know waiting is a lie. Perfection is a lie. The perfect day, the perfect energy, the perfect plan, they're all illusions. Every second you waste telling yourself you'll start later is a second stolen from the life you actually want. Stop waiting. Start doing. Stay consistent. That's it. That's the whole secret people pay for in fancy seminars and thick books. Action today beats dreams tomorrow every single time. Here's the reality check. A year from now, you'll look back at this exact moment and either feel proud you started or wish you had. The version of you that doesn't flinch, doesn't stall, doesn't talk in circles. That version is built by what you do today, not what you promise to do next week. So I'm not just going to say good luck. I'm giving you a simple dare. Prove it, not to me, not to the world, to yourself. Here's your move before you sleep tonight. Pick one small thing you keep postponing. Maybe it's 5 push-ups. Maybe it's writing 1 page. Maybe it's sending that email, clearing that corner of your desk, researching that course. Whatever it is, pick it. Now cut it in half. Make it so stupidly small your brain can't say no. Then do it. Right now if you can. Not after this audio ends. Not tomorrow morning. Now, and when you finish, don't clap for yourself yet. Put it in writing. Mark it on paper, on your phone, on your mirror. 1 win, 1 dot on the calendar. The first proof you don't just listen, you act. Tomorrow, repeat it. Don't plan a revolution, don't chase a perfect streak, just repeat. Stack 1 tiny win on the next until you can't remember what it felt like to stall. When you feel lazy, look at your dot. When you want to quit, remember your dot. When you wonder if it matters, know this. 1 dot means more than 1,000 perfect plans you never touched. Consistency isn't sexy at first, it's powerful in the end. It's the quiet superpower that turns ordinary people into unstoppable forces. Your big goals don't care if you're tired. They don't care if you're scared. They care if you show up. The moment you decide that excuses don't own you anymore, that's when everything changes. So take this seriously, don't just nod along. Pick something right now, do it right now, mark it right now, and tomorrow repeat. And the day after that, repeat again. The difference between dreamers and doers, the doers start. They keep starting until it's no longer a start, it's who they are. Your future self is watching, don't leave them with regret. Leave them with results. Now go do it. Before you close this and move on with your day, pause just for a moment and look around you. Look at your room, your phone, your unfinished plans stacked in some hidden corner of your mind. Ask yourself, what would change if you truly refused to break the promise you just made to yourself? No dramatic movie scene. No applause, just you alone with a choice. Keep waiting for the right mood, the right timing, the right version of you to magically appear, or decide that the person you dream of becoming is already here, hidden underneath all your excuses. Think of the version of you you keep picturing when no one's watching, the one who keeps their word. The one who wakes up, shows up, and follows through. The one who doesn't flinch when life throws distraction, doubt, or delay. That version is not out of reach. That version is built moment by moment, one tiny choice after another. Every day you do what you said you would, you carve out that identity a little deeper. Every day you break that promise, you strengthen the lie that you're the kind of person who almost does it, almost starts, almost changes, almost lives. So here's what I want to leave ringing in your mind. What story will you tell yourself when you put your head on your pillow tonight? That you kept waiting, or that you acted even when it was small, even when no one noticed? Consistency isn't loud, it's not dramatic. It's quiet, repetitive, and it makes no headlines. Until one day your life does. The people you admire didn't have more time or less fear. They just stopped hitting pause every time things got messy. They started and they refused to stop. They turned the boring, invisible work into a masterpiece everyone else now sees. Your masterpiece is waiting. It's hidden inside today's tiny actions. You can keep looking for secrets, motivation, some magic shortcut. Or you can wake up tomorrow, stare your excuses in the face, and say, "Not this time." So tonight, ask yourself, am I willing to stay the same for another year? Or will I finally trust myself enough to do the unremarkable things that build an extraordinary life? This is where most people nod, close this tab, and drift back to the same habits. But not you. Not this time. If you're ready, prove it. One small act. One dot on the page. One promise kept. And when doubt comes whispering back, play this again. Remind yourself you don't need perfect days. You need today, right here, right now. So what's stopping you now?